So I'm going to show you guys today how I fixed the whole water in the footwell issue that's common with most Volkswagens. um, well, first I started off by taking off the A-pillar cover, which is what this is. And how you remove that is you have this little clip that sits like up in here. You take I used a flathead screwdriver and you pry it out. These clips on the back of mine broke, but you know, what are you gonna do? So then I undid that first, then I came over, and probably should do this first, but you have this side cover here. You pull that off, and then you have this little piece of trim that sits along here. You pull that off too, and it's super easy to remove. I mean, if you have a trim tool remover, easy as hell. So you pull that off, and then you have access to this tube that runs down here, which comes from the sunroof up in here. You'll see a little hole down inside of there. That's where you remove it from. And I was trying to see if it was leaking anywhere else, where a common leak that typically if your sunroof is closed, you don't have an issue, but it leaks down inside of here. So if you're gonna put water down in here to test it, I usually put it up here and spray it down angular towards there. If you will be careful a little bit, because there's a lip inside of there and the water sometimes will go up there and it'll still flow down. It looks like you still have a leak, but it's just that piece in there. So you come down and it comes down through here, runs down inside of the tube down to here, and then if you can see right here, that's a little connection piece where sometimes on mine it fell off. Like this piece had come off of this little rubber grommet back in here, so so I had to basically reconnect that, which was kind of a bitch. And then another very common issue with these, which is actually mostly the issue, is right in here. If you can look back in there, I don't know. Right in here, there's right there. That's where the drain is, which I think is probably the stupidest part of this. Because unlike most Volkswagens, it's right there in the door jamb. But I ended up cutting off that little bit right there because it, was full of fucking dirt and shit, and I just didn't want it to fill back up and cause the leak again. I just fix it. I mean, I doubt that there's ever going to be a problem with water getting in there. If it does, I'm probably in some other problems. But yeah, and to get back in here, you have to remove all of these motherfuckers and shit. You have you have your motors for your wiper blades, and you have to remove the arms, which in itself are a bitch. But best way I found to do it is you have this right here. It sits in here. Press down with your thumb on this part right here because it's spring loaded, and pull back with the back of your hand with your pinky fingers, and like kind of get a grip like that. And should just take a little bit of prying and it pops right off. And you do that for both of them, and then you have these little foam bits sitting in the corners. You can just pull them out. It's super easy. Your weather stripping, and then this whole front cowl, basically the front tray sits in there. And don't pull back, go to a corner, and you'll see basically on these there's like this little ridge right here. Take it, grab the corner and kind of lift up on it, and it should start popping free because you have a little like rubber seal that sits at the bottom of the windshield, and you just kind of work it back around all the way, and you can pop it out all the way out, and then it should come out. Now careful, because sometimes that little corner or the little like an edge piece will break off, and then you'll have access to the inside of here and then you have this little like cover. Shit. You have this little cover that sits right here. Pull it out. Pull this end out first, and then kind of just wiggle this out because it's a little like dowel that sits inside of a little hole right there. Relatively easy if you just have general tools. I mean, ratchets. Used to get, that's the battery one, but to get the wiper arms out, you pull a little clip off, and then you use a 1/2 inch, and that pulled right off. And then with all your pieces to take out, to basically drop down this a little bit. It's a, what is that? Let's see if I read it. It's a T20 Torx bits, and that will work for all of these. Boom, all these little pieces, and the one back in here. So, I mean, I reconnected the hose back in here, and then pushed it, like basically reconnected, pushed it back in, and then I took a little bit of where is it? THHN solid wire. Probably better things to use, but this is what I had on hand, and I pretty much snaked it back down through here and pushed it through, and cleared out basically all the little bits of dirt and debris that was still left in the tube and in this little end bit, and tested it with some water pouring down in the sunroof, and now it's good, and I have no more leaks, any more issues with that. So yeah. If you guys have any questions, more than free to ask me. If you like, ask me anything. Yeah. See you guys.